This week's Parsha Perspective is in honor of our homeland, Eretz Yisroel. Mekadosh Baruch Hu, may God protect our brave soldiers, and may God return all the hostages from Gaza immediately. This week's Parsha Perspective is in honor of the Refuah Shlema of HaRav Amitai Ben Shoshanna. May all those who need to experience have a speedy and complete recovery. This week's Parsha Perspective is in loving memory of Hinda Bas Udl, Edward Ben Efraim, Shlomo Ben Edward, and Yirachmiel Daniel Ben Gedalia. May their souls be uplifted and may their memories be a blessing. This week's Torah portion is Parshas Shelach, Envision, the Promise. Our Parsha begins with the story of the spies' exploration of the land of Israel. The Jewish people lacked faith in what God had told them about the land of Israel. So they told Moshe Rabbeinu and asked him if they could send spies to study the land of Israel and report back their findings. Moshe Rabbeinu turned to God and asked Hashem, who replied that he could send spies, but God himself was not commanding Moshe Rabbeinu to do so. Moshe then picked one leader from each tribe and assigned them this special task. The spies headed out to perform their directive. They spent 40 days and 40 nights surveying the land and its people. And when they turned to Moshe Rabbeinu, they reported that the land was flowing with milk and honey. However, they warned that its citizens were powerful and mighty giants, and its cities were well fortified, and therefore it would be impossible to conquer. The Jewish nation turned to Moshe Rabbeinu and told him that they would rather stay in Egypt, rather stay in the desert, than to be defeated in battle against the nations of Canaan. And upon hearing their complaints, God informed Moshe Rabbeinu that he would punish the Jewish people for their persistent lack of faith. He exiled the Jewish nation to 40 years of wandering throughout the desert, and banned any male over the age of 20 from ever entering the land of Israel. However, a question comes to mind. Aside from the episode of the spies' exploration of Israel, there are a few mitzvahs in our Parsha, two of which we mention each and every day. We have the last paragraph of the Shema, where it is commanded to put on tzitzis strings on each four-cornered garment and not to follow the whims of our hearts and eyes. But why does our Parsha conclude with these specific commandments? What is the connection between the spies' exploration of the land of Israel and the mitzvahs of tzitzis and not to follow our hearts and our eyes' desires? The Im Mikra, a commentary written by an Italian rabbi, Rav Eliyahu, gives a simple explanation. He writes that the spies' exploration of the land began because the Jewish people didn't believe. They didn't believe in what God said was in the land, and they did not believe that they could conquer the land. And therefore they sent spies to see the land, to survey its nation's stronghold, to observe the defenses and report back their findings. The Jewish people thought that only through battle would they settle in the land that God had promised Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, our forefathers. They forgot that they had God, Melech HaMelechim, the King of all kings, the Creator, the Master of the universe, on their side. No ocean, no desert could stop God from keeping His words, from fulfilling His promises and leading His chosen nation into the holy and promised land. The Yom Mikra explains that tzitzis are a reminder of all the commandments of all the mitzvahs. They bring to mind what we have, that God is on our side, even when the odds are against us. When there are no chances of survival, the tzitzis visualize that God is with us at every step of the way. He may be leading us on a course we don't know, on a road we don't see, but on His path of history. However, the Rabbeinu Bachaya, Rav Bachya ben Asher, a leading Torah scholar, gives a deeper and more profound explanation. He ascertains that it is no simple coincidence that the Mitzvah of Tzitzis concludes the episode of the spies' exploration of the Holy Land. According to the Rabbeinu Bachaya, the message, the purpose of the Tzitzis combats and corrects the mistakes that the spies made while spying, while scouting in the land of Israel. In his instructions, Moshe Rabbeinu tells the spies, "U'isem es ha'aretz mahi, v'esa'am hayoshev aleha." You shall see the land and what it is, and the nations that live on it. Moshe Rabbeinu instructed the spies to see the place that he has been yearning for ever since he led the nation out of Egypt. A land so holy that even its physicality oozed and dripped with God's holiness. The only land fit to have a real, concrete sanctuary and home for God's holy and divine presence. Moshe Rabbeinu chose 12 special, holy, and righteous individuals, hoping they would visualize the possibilities rather than be caught up in the moment. He expected that they would see the same vision of Israel that he has been told about by God, that they would see why this country was promised to the descendants of people who gave everything to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, who gave everything to God, even when the odds were stacked against them. Our forefathers, Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, chose God, chose the master of the universe. Because our forefathers, Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, had a vision. They saw the land's potential. They saw the holiness embedded just beneath the surface, just as Moshe Rabbeinu. A divine gift from God for a Jewish kingdom, the holiest of all lands. And this is the vision we are meant to see with our tzitzis. As it says in the last paragraph of Shema, V'haya lachem letzitzis, ri'isim oisam, u'schartem eskol mitzvos Hashem, v'asisim oisam, v'letzasu achar levavchem, acharei inechem, asher atem zoinim achareihem. And they shall be for you a tzitzis, and you shall see them, and be reminded of all of God's commandments, and then observe them. And you shall not follow your heart and after your eyes and its lustful urges. The Rabbeinu Bechaya's profound lesson of vision is ever more relevant as we continue to fight for our very existence. This past Sunday, attackers led a siege on a synagogue on a shul in the heart of the Los Angeles Jewish community. They unsuccessfully tried to stop an event about selling property in the Holy Land in Eretz Yisroel. It was an expo on vision. What would life look like if we could walk the streets of our forefathers every single day? How would we feel being able to pray in our holiest sites when we wanted to? Imagine just living a short drive away from the Kaisel, from the Western Wall, or the Ma'aras HaMachpelah, the cave of matriarchs and patriarchs. The attackers tried to block our vision, curb our imagination, and yet managed to do the exact opposite. They inspired thousands to defend, to stand for their community despite their affiliation, because they saw them for who they truly are. A threat, an enemy to our very existence. I will conclude with a powerful quote about vision from Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sachs of blessed memory. There must be vision to inspire us, telling us why we should do what we are asked to do. There must be a narrative. This is what happened. This is who we are, and this is why the vision is so important to us. And then there must be the laws, the code that allow us to translate the vision into reality, to turn the pain of the past into blessings of the future. An extraordinary combination to be found in almost no other code of law. And this is exactly what the Torah is giving us. Its enduring power. It is a model for all those who seek to lead people to greatness. Have a great weekend and good Shabbos.